So we were really excited about this project when our client reached out to us.
The client tasked us with making a documentary-style promotional video, really highlighting their community involvement and their volunteer work in the Illinois community.
They wanted us to do some filming, but they also wanted us to film at the Bud Billiken Parade, which we've had the opportunity to do a couple of times.
After a client signs with us, it's go time. The beginning of a project is my favorite part. I'm usually the first point of contact, and I essentially just get to show and prove what Digifé is about. Our creative development forces us to ask questions to avoid mistakes that can happen later. Don't fix it in post, do it right in pre. All right, so Molina. So in the internal kickoff meeting with my producer, I'm essentially filling her in on everything that has happened up until that point. So I'm going through the details of the project. We're talking deliverables, we're talking dates, we're talking crew.
Clients, when they're asking for a video, like they're not video experts, you know, that's why they hire us. And so it's almost like a skill that you develop is to take this thing that they say and then filter it and then be able to translate it to the crew. I think that's the main part of the job.
The barricades that they have up, you're not allowed to enter and exit on the parade route. So once you go in, you got to stick with them the whole way. But that doesn't mean you can't take breaks.
Handing off the project can be a little sad for me because I know that the client that I've built this rapport with, like all of that's kind of coming to an end. But I'm also excited because I know they're getting to meet the team.
Today is the Bud Billiken Parade. Haven't filmed this in a while, I think since 2017.
Honestly, the amount of pre-production that we've done really takes some of the pressure off of the shoot. It is going to be a pretty chaotic day.
And it's gonna be hot, but we're gonna be ready. And most importantly, I got my bucket hat. I think it's a bucket hat, maybe not.
Everybody knows like exactly what their roles are, exactly what they're looking to get.
The parade just got started. We're just finishing equipment setup.
Darren, what's going on today?
We are at the Bud Billiken Parade with Molina.
And you had to read that to make sure you were at the right place.
Yes.
Listen, it's still early. They're figuring out what shoot they're at. We're gonna give them some grapes, we're gonna give them some coffee, some water, but we're about to be out in the streets. What's unique about the Bud Billiken Parade is it's gonna run on its own time. And the reason for that is because there's so many floats, so many people, so many moving parts that you just kind of go with the flow.
So for the Molina shoot, we actually had a really big crew.
So for the crew, we had Catherine as our producer director leading the team.
So yeah, get shots of the city where you can tell that we're on the south side, like just some beauty shots of the south side would be awesome. I was overseeing everything, making sure that we were staying on schedule, that we're getting the kinds of shots that we needed to get, that everybody knew what was going on.
She's our liaison between the client and the creative crew. So it is the most important position when we do projects like this.
So we also had Jacob, who was on audio. Jacob was with Eric the whole day, and so he was getting any kind of parade sounds, which is really difficult because there's a lot of music. And then he was also with Eric and I getting interviews afterwards. Darren was our cam op who was actually in the parade. He was with Molina from start to finish.
He can get close-ups, he's getting the t-shirts.
Dancers, he was getting the fun interactions, he was getting, you know, Molina members handing out candy.
Jason's responsibility was on the gimbal. Everything that he was getting was slow-mo, and that allowed for some great cinematic images.
There's one in particular, this little girl like jump roping, and there's like bubbles flying across, and she has like these cute little pigtails, and it's an amazing shot. And then we had Eric with a K, who was our drone op for the day. And so he was getting all the sweeping drone shots of the parade. He was getting cityscapes of the south side.
The beautiful thing about a drone is like, it's important not to overuse it, but it just gives you a different perspective that we're not usually seeing when we're seeing the Bud Billiken Parade.
And then Eric was getting kind of general B-roll of what it's like watching the parade. And then we also had Jason, who Literally could not have done the day without him. He was such a trooper.
If you have a good team and there's no egos, everybody can give their insight and nobody's feeling like, oh, you're trying to tell me how to do my job. So he was giving us great ideas throughout the day, things that he saw. And so everybody had a different role that they were responsible for.
Catherine and I got together to talk about the edit.
I think the drums and the faster pace in the beginning definitely work.
All the roles at Digifé are really intertwined. From an editor standpoint, I'm looking at the creative direction, and that's established in pre-production.
But I think the arc still works. Like we have the drums, and then we bring in the purpose of Molina and like the heartfelt story, and then we end on the high note again.
There's a lot of rules around advertising for healthcare, and so we have to really keep it more on the documentary side and showing their community work and not make it really outright advertising.
The producer, in this case, had to have her hands on all the camera people that were working the parade that day. And so because she knows the footage, she can translate that back to me.
At 17 seconds, I know Darren got a more interesting shot of that guy dancing.
When you have multiple angles of things to pull from, it makes it a lot of fun to kind of play with different perspectives. And so the promo really requested different things at different times. And that's what makes my job easier, is that I was able to go to those things if I needed to. There's a line in the promo where the woman says,
the community see us with the Molina shirts on and they ask us.
Because Darren was in the parade, he got great shots of the shirts. All those roles kind of really work together.
The thing about the Bud Billiken Parade is it's very Black, and we were honored to be able to film it for our client.
It's important to have a team that looks like us because I think there's a level of authenticity that we can get out of the subjects and the content that we cover.
There's so many little things and little interactions and like cultural competencies that really come across. It's important to be able to know on the spot.
A lot of times it's right in our community, it's in Chicago, and I think there's a level of comfortability that they have when they see they're Black.